An intensive hunt is on in suburban Detroit for a schoolboy missing since last week, the latest in a series of child kidnappings there. Don Webster reports.
11-year-old Timothy King left his Birmingham home last Wednesday evening and bought candy at this pharmacy. He never returned home. He is the fourth child in 13 months to disappear from Detroit suburbs under similar circumstances. The pattern is the same. A child 10 to 12 years is abducted and kept prisoner, in some cases as long as 16 days. The child is then killed and the body dumped in a street. Police have investigated more than 1,500 leads. So far, no murderer and no motive.
We're looking for a person who is a white-collar worker, above average intelligence, someone that you would not think abnormal if he drove through your neighborhood.
The kidnappings have taken place within a 5-mile radius in affluent suburbs north of Detroit. As a result, many children who used to walk to school are now being driven by their parents.
I only live 2 blocks from the school, but I fear even that short distance for his protection with what's been going on in our community.
What is your children's reaction? Are they afraid, or do they know really what's going on?
I don't think they really understand. They know the boys are missing, but I haven't made it scary.
Because the other children have been kept alive for some time, Tim's parents assume for now he too is alive. Last week they made an appeal on television.
We love him very much, wherever he is and whoever he is with. We want him back home. He's got a basketball game on Saturday. He missed play practice today. And wherever you are, Tim, we love you. We want you back home.
2 of the kidnapped children were boys, 2 girls. The first 3 appeared well cared for right up to the time they were killed. Don Webster, CBS News, Birmingham, Michigan.
We're now coming up on 10 minutes past the hour.
The police in Michigan say they still do not know who's responsible for the wave of child kidnappings and murders there, but more than 160 detectives are working to find the killer and to keep him from finding any more victims.
More than 300 residents of the northern Detroit suburb of Ferndale packed a community center last night to find out what local police say they should tell their children. What they as parents should do to keep their little ones from becoming new victims of the man police say has murdered 4 suburban children. A psychopath who washes the bodies and neatly dresses them before he dumps them off. And while school officials warn too much talk to children about avoiding strangers affects them emotionally, police are talking tough.
The person who is doing this, we believe, doesn't come across as a stranger. He's not perceived as a stranger. So the message then to the children is, if you don't know this person, engage in no dialogue at all with him. Period.
The special task force investigating the crimes has been at it for 3 months now, taking calls, tracking down leads. The FBI says it's the largest of its kind ever assembled. And still, all local policemen, FBI agents, and state police involved have been unable to find the man they believe has murdered the 4 children. Authorities say they're encouraged by the 3,300 tips they've received from residents, think that has helped their investigation more than anything else. But they still believe there are people who could supply information they need to find the killer and haven't done so.
Yes, I believe that there's someone out there that has knowledge that could tell us. And I don't know for what reason why they're holding back, but in most crimes of this type, someone knows some information that would be awfully useful.
Possibly a relative.
Could be a relative, a friend, a neighbor, an employer.
Based on new information, police say they intend to draw up a better composite sketch of the suspected killer, one that will be closer than this to what he actually looks like. They also say a second person may have been involved in the murder of the last child. He was 11-year-old Timothy King. His body will be buried today. Betty Ann Bowser, CBS News, Birmingham, Michigan.
Organized labor lost one major battle Wednesday when the House voted down the common site picketing bill.
Okay, now do you know what type of car he drives, or do you?
It continues to be the biggest task force ever assembled. Detectives from all over the state of Michigan working here in Oakland County, trying to track down a man police call the Babysitter Killer, responsible, they say, for the murders of 4 suburban Detroit school children. More than 20,000 tips have been checked out. Many files are now closed. Others are still being checked. Police say the babysitter looks like this, or this, or this. But they believe he looks most like this. Today, 5 months after formation of the task force, they haven't found the killer. But they've discovered something else that, in a sense, is as important as solving the murders. The task force has discovered by looking for one child molester that there are other potential ones on the streets, more than they had ever imagined. Police asked every child in 8 suburban school districts between the ages of 8 and 13 years if they'd ever been approached in the past 2 years by a stranger, offered a ride, asked to go with someone they didn't know. The children were promised anonymity. Not even their parents would know. Authorities were astonished to receive nearly 700 reports from the children that ranged from attempted pickups to outright cases of molestation. They compared that with the figures for all of metropolitan Detroit and found that for the last 2 years, only 1,201 cases had been reported.
I don't think we ever could decide how big it was before. We knew we had a problem out there. We knew that we had those sorts of people, but I don't think we really recognized it as such. At a bare minimum, that for every 1 incident reported to the police, that 6 contacts are made by people with the youngsters out on the street.
Robertson says not all the reports involve outright cases of child molestation. In fact, only a small number. But he says this is the first time any law enforcement agency has documented how widespread attempts to pick up children are. Schools recess for the summer in suburban Detroit in about a week. The task force and various community groups have organized summer programs, warning children not to go with strangers. They also hope the months of warning children to watch what they do, where they go, and who they talk to will stay with them through the hot weather. Still, Robertson is concerned.
I think, though, that when we relate to words, that the youngsters might not relate to those same words. What is a stranger? When I have a conversation with you for a few minutes, am I still a stranger? If I play catch with you at the ball field, am I a stranger? If I let you talk on my CB radio and we talk back and forth, am I a stranger? You know, I think that's our area of a problem.
Betty Ann Bowser, CBS News, Oakland County, Michigan.
The time now, 9 minutes before the hour.